Does Chrome from Vancity Vanlife, does he depict the real, true sense of a nomad and a van dweller? But first, nomadic fanatic makes a costly mistake. What's up, blind viewers? How's everybody doing today? That's right, we're going to answer some questions, but first, we're going to talk about nomadic fanatic. That's right, Eric, he made a costly mistake. Now, he was out camping by a river in Kentucky, and there were signs that the river had been up before. There was mud up pretty high, even up the bank and up the trees and everything, and it was raining, and but he decided, well, we'll just kind of hang out, see what happens, and we'll spend the night and leave in the morning. Well,
Fact. Oh boy. I don't know what else to say, guys. Don't do what I did. Just don't ever do what I did. We're back on solid ground here. AAA hooked me up. We are going to be getting back on the road here as soon as they take my money. Yeah, that's right.
There you go. Little mishap. Wasn't too bad. But yeah, go over and check it out. You can see the entire thing, what transpired, what happened, the whole enchilada, if you will. So yeah, in Kentucky, but yeah, you always got to be prepared and be aware of your surroundings. We talked about this before. But yeah, he even admits he made a mistake, and he should know better after being on the road for 10 plus years or whatever it was. That yeah, he saw the signs, he knew better, but he pushed his luck anyway. Good video, good advice from Eric, nomadic fanatic. All right, now 16 Steve, he put a little teaser up real quick, said, is there such thing as a part-time nomad? Now, he didn't go about anything. He said he's going to give his opinion later, but he kind of threw it out there. So it kind of got me to thinking. It was like, part-time nomads. What is a part-time nomad? Well, I guess the first thing we got to do is figure out what is a nomad, right? So I figured, well, let's look this up. Let's see what we got going on here. So we have a nomad. There's a definition. No permanent abode, travels, but this is to find fresh pastures for their livestock. That's the back in the day thing, a person who does not stay long in the same place. A wanderer. And it tells you the origin and all that good stuff. And yes, this is from the Oxford dictionaries. Okay. So I was like, okay, so that's the technical definition. But what about a modern nomad? This is pretty much all I could find. It was just an article by a nomad saying what they thought a modern nomad was. So you can kind of read it for yourself. Basically, they don't have an address and they travel and they don't stay in one spot. Well, I mean, they do have a place to call home, actually. It says, contrary to the classical definition of nomadism, modern nomads have a place that they call home. So, yeah. So that's what I did for. I was kind of like, okay, well, before we got to go in here and actually answer this, got to figure out what is a nomad, right? And we got to figure out what the definition or what we think a modern nomad is, because these folks aren't nomads in the true sense of the word per definition, but so I benefit of the doubt, what is a modern nomad? But anyway, this is where, before you get too far, I guess this is where I got everything from. String Steve, the nomad. And there's his little question showing that he is asking for input, and he's going to give his opinion later. So I do want to answer that. Is there a part-time nomads? Well, before I get into that, I want to go one step further, because Chrome from Vancity Vanlife, he kind of said some things that not exactly along the same lines, but it's kind of there. It takes it one step further. Well, is there, nomads? Are the RVers, the full-timers, are they actual nomads? And if they are considered nomads, is there such thing as a part-time nomad? And is a YouTuber nomad or YouTuber full-timer different than just a regular full-timer or nomad or RVer? When you throw the YouTube thing into the mix, does it change it? Does it make it a little bit different? And where I was coming with that was Chrome was talking about things about, hey, well, here, let's just see what he has to say about it.
But when you're watching channels like mine, don't expect this to be like the gold standard of van life. Like, it's going to be action-packed every day. If you want days action-packed all the time, you need to keep yourself very busy. I keep myself as busy as I can. Even today, when I was having a lazy day, I still moved around town a fair amount. So
yeah, that's the next thing. So yeah, don't expect to watch certain channels and go, oh, this is what van dwelling's all about. This is what full-time van life is all about. This is what living in an RV is all about when you watch some of these channels. So that's what I'm going to talk about today and give you my opinion. This is just my opinion. And I know, we all know they're like assholes. Everybody has one. And they usually don't smell very well, right? They usually stink. But it's my opinion. All right. So, is there such thing as a part-time nomad? Well, in the modern day nomad, yeah, I'm sure there can be a part-time nomad. I will use, there's quite a few actually, that have home bases, places that they can go. They don't visit them very often. Every once in a while, not on a regular basis, but, they go out, they travel, they go do whatever they're going to do. And if they need to, I don't know, go recharge, go have a doctor's visit, go get some things in order, like, I don't know, maybe registering their vehicle or getting it inspected, or just anything that just needs to be, tidied up. If they have a pet, maybe they, go back and get a good checkup or this or that or that. Instead of doing it on the road, go back to, they have a place to go back to settle in, a place that's comfortable, familiar, where they know everybody's there, and just have a place to go to regroup, get their shit together, get any kind of work done that they need to get done, and then they hit the road again. Now, just because they have that place, does that mean that they're not a nomad? They're not traveling constantly. They're not moving constantly. Well, that would mean that the folks at Quartzsite that plunked down for 4 months, does that mean that they're not nomads? Because they don't move for almost half a year. They don't get their ass out of the sand for that long period of time. Or is that part of being a nomad? When the cold weather hits and the winter comes and, all that, poof, head to Quartzsite, set in the desert. And then when it starts to get warm, start scattering. Some people go, they'll hit, You know, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Some place will go. Some people go to Oregon and Washington. Other people come over here to the East Coast and run around and do all kinds of stuff. And then when it starts getting cold again, like fall, leaves are starting to turn. Okay, we got to skedaddle and head back to the warm. Some folks go to Florida. Some folks go to the desert in Arizona. But yeah, so that is a nomad. You're chasing something, chasing work, chasing weather, chasing whatever it may be. You're not chasing pastures for your livestock. You're not chasing, you know, the weather so you can find food, as nomads, the real nomads did, but you're chasing that weather. You're following that pattern. And yeah, real nomads, they actually did have their migration patterns, just like the modern nomads do. We watch them all. They all have their migration patterns. We all know where they're going to go. We all know where they're going to be. We all know who's going to wind up in quartzsite, when they're going to be there. We may not know exactly where they're going to go after that, but we have a clue. So yeah, I mean, there's lots of folks that have their little spot. And then you have like Aja. She found her little spot that she bought land. Is she there all the time? No. Nomadic Fanatic bought his house. He turned it into a giant arcade, basically. I mean, there's furniture and a bed, washer, dryer, stuff like that. But it's not your typical house. It's not your typical home, I guess you would call it. Sure, it's his home base. He has his stuff there. But it's not like he's staying there, you know, not even a quarter of the year is he there. So when it comes to being a part-time nomad, I guess, sure, you can be a part-time nomad. In my opinion, yeah, there's part-time nomads. What if you're something like maybe a school teacher or something like that, something seasonal that maybe you have to be in a certain spot for a certain chunk of time, but then you have 3-4 months off. You can do whatever you want to do. So you roam. Wouldn't that be considered a part-time nomad? As long as you get back in time for school to start. Now, sure, soon, I believe, you'll be able to be a teacher and you'll be able to be a nomad too, because you'll be able to do that stuff online. I think everything's heading to cyber. I don't think there's going to be any buildings and teachers or even salespeople soon, but that's for a different discussion. So yeah, I'm sure there's things that you can be a part-time nomad, where if you have a job where you can go and work even 6 months out of the year or whatever and make a giant chunk of change, then go, I'm out, and then go travel and roam around and not stay put for longer than a week or two. Part-time nomads. So are there part-time nomads in my opinion? Yes, I believe there are. And yeah, if you want to get technical and go down and go, oh, well, a nomad is this. Well, that no longer applies to what we're talking about. We're talking the modern nomad. Now let's switch gears just a little bit and let's talk about what Chrome was talking about. Basically what he was saying is like, look, if you want to know what true nomads are, or what a true van dweller's life is, the typical true van dweller, don't watch my channel for that. Watch my channel for other stuff, because YouTube is his business. It's his livelihood. That's how he makes a living. So pulling up to some campground, plunking down with him and 2 other people or 4 other people, sitting around a campfire for 3 weeks, doing absolutely nothing but having potluck dinners and, conversation and drinking a beer. That's not making a living on YouTube. Nomadic Fanatic's another one. He's not the typical nomad. If you think, oh, well, let's see, I'm going to be a full-time RVer, let me go watch Nomadic Fanatic. Nah, You're not gonna be a full timer. You're not gonna get out there and head out and go, okay, I'm going to buy a big old RV. I'm going to plaster my name all over it. I'm going to get a car, plaster my name all over that. I'm going to do the Route 66 from beginning to end. And then I'm going to, let's see, plan what? The Lincoln Highway next. Okay, let me go here. Let me go here. Let me plan all these trips out. You'll plan to a certain extent, but you're not going to keep moving constantly to get content because it's not your job. You're not going to put a logo and brand everything you own so you can write it off on your taxes because it's a part of your job. No. You're not going to constantly be upgrading and trading and buying RVs. You're not going to be constantly building your van out. And as soon as you look at it and everybody's going, wow, you know, I'm talking about Chrome now. You know, oh, look at his van. It's awesome, man. Look what he did. And then all of a sudden he's going to drive to Vancouver Island again, get on the ferry and go, hey, come on, rip this out and let's put this in. Let's put a drawer on. You know, he goes from basic, simple van with a bed in it to, you know, lift kits and big tires and rims and a ladder on the side and things on the top. And, you know, he goes from I don't need anything to having full-blown solar system and batteries and little lights, switches, and I mean, it's all done up. He went from nothing to this. But that's not going to be the typical, I just want to go out and buy a van and go do this. That's not the typical. That, once you throw the YouTube thing in, well, yeah, I'm not talking about just making a few videos here and there, like tons. There's tons and tons and tons of them. But very few, lots try, but very few actually do the YouTube thing where, okay, this is what's going to fund my life. This is my job. Everything I get, I'm getting a receipt because it's a tax write-off. Some of this stuff I don't even have to pay for because people send me shit and say, hey, throw this in here, talk about it, put it on your video, it's yours. Stuff like that. That's when it becomes, no, that's not the typical thing. You look at some of these other people like, well, let's talk about, say, like RV Joey, Butterfly Gypsy, Randy the Mobile Traveler. And I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. Sure, these people are YouTubers and sure, they make videos, but they're not paying all their bills from what they get from YouTube. They're out there throwing out a couple videos here and there. Their content's not that great. It's okay. It's fun to watch and follow them, but they don't have the branding. They're not building brands. They don't have logos everywhere. They're not, you know, peddling their merch. They're not getting sponsors for everything. It's not their life. They probably don't even know what they could write off. They probably don't have a clue on how to run a business anyway. So yes, once you throw YouTube into the mix, and it becomes your job to be a full-time van dweller, or it's your job to be a nomad. It's your job to film every single day what you're looking at, what you're doing. You can't sit still. You can't really sit down and relax and go, I'm just going to sit here in a circle with 10 other people, eat some macaroni and cheese, drink a beer, and film each other across the fire. That's not enough to keep going. Some people try, but they don't get very far. And they're the ones that always got their hand out because that YouTube dream just isn't paying the way for what they think they're going to get. They see others do it, but they just ain't got it in them. And as always, you don't have to agree with me, but this is Blind Views, and that's the way I see it.
What we do here is go back.